Hi, good morning to all. This is Balamurugan, Assistant Commandant in CRPF, and now currently consulting faculty in Kingmaker AIS Academy. I am here to discuss about the Good Morning Test on 22nd April 2020. So I hope everyone has no doubt on the 21st April discussion. And second thing I want to add on the today in the sense, reading newspaper is not something. It's like a subject that needs to be covered for the UPSC preparation. It's not like that. It needs to be habitualized with along with your day-to-day activities, something like brushing or eating breakfast, something like that. So such kind of the habitualized practices that needs to develop. This is the main ultimate intention of this particular GMT test. So we will move on to today's discussion. So the very first question which deals with the maze, the term maze. So we don't know what is maze. The exact meaning of the maze in the sense it's related to the puzzle. So with keeping the my meaning of the maze, with keeping the meaning of the maze. So what will be what will related to the terms in the sense. So it is a direct based question. If you don't know the answer, you cannot be answered easily. So if you know the answer, you will answer for this kind of the question. Otherwise, you just leave it, and we will work on the next question. You just assume that if you can't able to guess, or if you can't able to recollect or connect with any of the factors which has been asked in this particular question, better you just leave it. You will work on the question you are familiar with. At least you have some kind of the guess on this particular question. So in this question, the ransomware is the answer. A is the answer. So the ransomware which deals with the cyber attack. The cyber attack in the sense it's an attack on the or disruption on the computer network system, which may be the data theft, or accessing the data without your permission, or alter the data, or remove the data, reveal the data, and expose the important data, or any other factors which facilitate the way for denial of the services, or which will affect the normal regular pattern of the particular organization functioning, or any of the services which is provided by the particular organization. So this is the simple meaning of the what is cyber attack in the sense. The crime in the criminal activity is considered to be cyber crime. So in this aspect, the ransomware is also equally considerable to the cybercrime activities. It means that there are two words are there. One is ransom plus ware. So ransom, you mean the literal meaning, the demanding money or any other favor. Then only we will release your captive, or then only we will resume the services which has been blacked by the cyber criminals. So the malware in the sense, the ware which indicates the meaning of malware. So malware is umbrella term, so it will include all the cyber criminal related tools activity, something like virus or phishing or any other cyber criminal activities which can be used to disrupt the services of the computer network. So using this malware tool, the cyber criminal involved in the activities of the ransom, then only we can call as it is a ransomware. The Maze ransomware is recently it has been found out. So it's Maze ransomware it's make a huge impact in recent times. Why I am saying in the sense, in the time of COVID-19 impact, most of the IT services has been worked on the remote based workstation or work from home. In that aspect, in the timing of work from home, there is more vulnerability to trace or to hack any of the system or any of the services. So this is actually problem. How far the Maze ransomware is different from other cyber attack in the sense, if you any malware which attack to any of the system, the cyber expert, we will do in the reverse engineering mechanism. Reverse engineering mechanism in the sense, they will analyze and characterize the malware they used, and then we will trace back to the IP of the computer system. Mostly they will involve in the IP spoofing or something. In this particular, reverse engineering is the main tool in identifying the cyber criminals. So this kind of the reverse engineering mechanism is so difficult in this Maze ransomware malware attack. So if the person is if one particular network system is affected by the Maze ransomware, the reverse engineering process is too difficult. So it is in this manner, it is it's nearly very hard to find out the cyber criminals. So this why it is in the news, in the sense the Maze ransomware, the Cognizant, the leading IT services provider in India, is recently affected by the Maze ransomware. That's why this question has been asked. So very clear. I will sum up the first question. The ransomware, Maze ransomware, which deals with the cyber attack. So the ransom meaning then, meaning of the ransom in the sense demanding money or any favor, then only we will release the captive or resume the services which has been blocked by the person. Here any kind of the malware is used to ransoming the particular organization or any of the company. So in that aspect, recently the Cognizant, the leading IT services provider, has been attacked by the Maze ransomware. That's why it is in the news. In this Maze ransomware, reverse engineering is very important. The reverse engineering is very important to trace back to the cyber criminals. So in this, as far as this reverse engineering process is concerned, is too difficult in the Maze ransomware, and this is that's why this is so hard to find out the cyber criminals. So we will move on to next questions. And second question, which deals with the leather back sea turtle. So it's definitely there will be on questions from the species related questions. As far as the species related questions, we need to have the following interpretation that you need to have. First, what is the habitat of particular organization, whether it is a herbivorous or omnivores or any other way, food pattern, and any of the significance of that particular species, and what are all the threatening factor of that particular species. Along with the habitat, what kind of whether it will be vegetation on that particular location. These are all the terms that we need to know about the particular species, which is more significant or more important as far as UPSC questions are concerned. So in this aspect, in the last discussion, we will see the one species which is attacked by the Leucistic slothbeard at the Melghat tiger reserve in Maharashtra. Here in today's test, we will see the leatherback sea turtle. The leatherback sea turtle is the largest sea turtle. They are distributed along the tropical coast only. Wherever the questions ask the terms of absolute terms like only, never, ever, all, and that as we need to be extra consciousness along with the cautiousness about the particular questions, and they are distributed along the tropical coast only. So we will discuss whether it will be only tropical coast or it can be found at any other coast. We will move on. We will discuss on later. And second, we need to have the threatening character in the IUCN red list. This is very important. Whether it will be critically endangered or vulnerable or least concern or any of the status of that particular species. In this aspect, the second statement is wrong. It's a vulnerable, so not a endangered species one. So these are all the information about the leatherback sea turtle. It is largest turtle in the sea, and its primary food is jellyfish. It can be found along tropical temperate waters of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. So obviously, first statement is wrong. It's the largest living sea turtles weighing about 900 kg, and jellyfish is this primary food. Habitat tropical and subtropical oceans. It's a threatening factor is in the sense high sea fishing operation, harvesting of egg, and destruction of the nest by the wild predators and the domesticated species of destruction of the nests by wild predators and domestic species like cat, dog, or pigs. And more important point things, artificial lightning, which will disrupt the normal way of pattern of life. It's disorient hatchlings and adults. It causes them to migrate towards inland rather than the artificial lightning disrupt the hatchlings and the adult. It will disturb the normal pattern way of life. It will because of this artificial lightning, the adults and the hatchlings, they tend to move towards inland rather than the sea. This is one of the huge threatening factor as far as leather seaback turtle is concerned. Why this question is answered in the terms, the COVID-19 entire world almost is in the lockdown. In the time, this large number of the rare turtle are spotted in the new empty Thailand beaches. That's why this particular question has been asked. So leatherback sea turtle is the largest species. Jellyfish is the primary fish. Tropical and subtropical ocean in the Pacific, Atlantic, and the Indian Oceans. Its threatening factor is as usual heavy fishing, harvesting of eggs, and the destruction of the nests by the wild predators or the domestication animals. Artificial lightning disrupt the normal pattern of life. Its adults and the hatchlings tend to move towards the inland rather than the move towards the sea. It is considered to be vulnerable in the IUCN threatening factor. So next we will move on to next question. This question is very important question. And what is nominal effective exchange rate? There are 4 terms are there: nominal, effective, and exchange rate. First, what is exchange rate? What is exchange rate? Is the rate at which exchanged in the two commodities or two different things, that is normally called as exchange rate. So if you one chocolate is 5 rupees, for 10 rupees you can get the 2 chocolates. So one chocolate is 5 rupees. This is what exchange rate that we need to understand from the term of exchange, the rate at which is added between the two commodities. In this aspect, into nominal effective exchange rate, the rate at which the one currency is shared with the another currency. This is what here called as the exchange rate. So then what is the effective exchange rate? What is the meaning of nominal? If it is the nominal effective exchange rate, then what is considered to be the real effective exchange rate? These are all the terms that we need to know about this particular question. First, see the first statement. It is the weighted average of bilateral nominal exchange rate of the home currency in terms of foreign currency. So first, very exchange rate in the sense, what is the rate at which the home currency is shared with the another in terms of foreign currency, and here use the word weighted average. And second, it decrease in this index denotes the depreciation in the rupee value, that is home currency value. So this is what we need to identify whether both the statement are correct or one only or two only. So you should have the basic idea about what is nominal effective exchange rate, then only we can answer for this question. So in this, first of all, it's a weighted average system. So this particular index is also called as the trade weighted currency index. Trade weighted currency index. It is also called as. Then what is the meaning of the trade weighted and currency index? So first of all, it will take it as an average. You just assume that if India is there, Indian rupee. So it should be weightage because it is a weighted average. So weightage and the value, right? So if you take is an $1 rupees is weightage in the sense one in the sense it's maybe just assume that 60 rupees or 1 euro in the sense 1 euro in the sense just assume that 50 rupees and 1 sterling pound you just assume that 1 sterling pound is its weightage is equal to just 60 rupees. So if it is for average of is concerned, I just make you clear one thing. I am here to take it to I am here to explain you the average of arithmetic average. Normally in this calculation people use the geometric average. You just leave those factors that not at all to be so important in the UPSS. We just know that. I will clear the what is effective nominal effective exchange rate. If the weightage pattern is same, we just assume that 1 cents, we can come to the conclusion that 60 plus 110 or 170 divided by 3. This is the value of 1 rupees in the nominal exchange rate, weighted average rate of the one home currency in terms of the foreign currency, weighted average term. It's a 110 and it's a 170, then 170 divided by 3. This is weighted average. Here the weightage pattern is same for all. It's not actually same for all. Its weighted pattern is depending upon the traded value of the particular countries. If you one country how much it's traded with the another country, that will decide the weightage pattern in calculating the nominal exchange rate. So that's why it is called as trade weighted and currency index. The trade weighted in the sense you just assume that India has a 70% of the goods trade with the USA and 20% of the trade with these Europe and 10% of the trade with the UK. You just assume that in that manner. So this is the trade pattern. We are having the trade 70% of our goods interaction with the USA in the sense the trade interaction 70% with the US. This is the trade weighted average. So the trade, how much amount of the particular country has traded with one another, that decides the weightage pattern. So if it is in the 0.7, if it is 0.2, if it is 0.1, then it will calculate the 0.7 into 0.6, then it 0.1 you will add the both the 3 and divided by 3, then only we will come to the conclusion of nominal effective exchange rate. I hope everyone very clear about the what is nominal exchange rate. The first thing, it's a weighted average. Weighted average, then how do you give the weightage parameter to the particular currency, particular country foreign currency. So that is decided depending upon the how much amount of trade is done by country with another country. In this aspect, that's why this particular exchange rate is called as the trade weighted exchange rate. If just assume the 70% of trade with this USA, we will consider it will give the 0.7 as a weightage. I just assume that in that manner. I just make you clear it's not an exact calculation pattern of the nominal exchange rate. This is the rationale behind the nominal exchange rate, because already I told that I am here explaining about the arithmetic average. It's actually they are calculating the geometric average. We no need to go some kind of the so technical in the calculation of nominal exchange. That's not so important for the UPSC. Then what is the difference between nominal effective exchange rate and the real effective exchange rate? So this both are the same. Why? In the sense there are both are the weighted average, both are the trade weighted based currency index. So in this aspect, it is not adjusted for inflation. Not adjusted for inflation. Here adjusted for inflation. So as far as the real effective exchange rate is concerned, it is the rate for exchange rate is adjusted for the inflation value. In nominal, it's not adjusted for the inflation value. That's why it is called as nominal. That is called as the real. This is what the main difference between the nominal and the real. But otherwise, calculation this aspect, these are all the same. You just assume that in this aspect, in this particular index, our rupee value is decreasing nominally. It's accurately, it will index the whether it will be depreciation or appreciation. So it's a decrease in the its index normally denotes the depreciation in the rupee value, and it is the weighted average of the bilateral nominal exchange rate of the home currency in terms of foreign currency. So both the statement are correct. I hope everyone understand this particular question. This is very, very important. You should understand very clearly. If you have any doubt, immediately ask me through mail or telegram channel. So I will make you clear very easily, but don't leave this particular question without any understanding. Please don't skip this question, which seems to be more technical in character. I will explain. I have explained very clear and very simple basis. You can, if you hear this particular question discussion clearly, you will get an idea. We'll move on to next question. Why this question is COVID-19 impact is rupee hurting the rupee exchange rate with the other countries. So it's a weighted average. We will discuss about it. Weighted means the country which land trades is more or given more weightage. Yeah, if we have seen 70% in one countries, its weightage is more 17, something like that. So it's the traded pattern which decides the weightage allocation to the traded of particular country. The decrease in the index denotes the depreciation in the rupee value. Increase it reflects the appreciation. So hence statement 2 is correct. It's an indicator of the country international competitiveness in the foreign index. That's why it is called as the trade weighted based currency index. These are all information about the nominal exchange rate. We will move on to next question. So consider the following statement regarding artificial neural network based global ionospheric model. First of all, artificial neural network in the sense something which needs to be natural neural network, right? So and second, we need to see global based ionospheric model. So here we are using the neural network pattern or neural network analytical skill, which will be used to study the ionospheric model. This is what information we can infer from the terms of artificial neural network based on the global ionospheric model. The very first statement, it used to mimic the process of human brain, so which may be the natural artificial neural network. It learned about the geomagnetic storms that occur due to the magnetic clouds that originate from the sun. So in this aspect, first we need to identify what is ionosphere, and then we will move on to the discussion about this particular question. Normally the atmospheric layering is split up a troposphere, stratosphere, and mesosphere, and thermosphere, and exosphere. So the ionosphere is mostly confined with the region of thermosphere. In this aspect, it's ionized the materials. It is influenced by the solar radiation and the cosmic radiation. Solar radiation and cosmic radiation. So the electromagnetic waves which is originated from the earth waves, it's move and it will be reflected back to the earth by the same ionosphere. And third thing is, if you take as a daytime, there is sunlight is also there, cosmic is also the right. If you take as a night time, there is no solar light, so only the cosmic wave. It's so the ionospheric density and the ionospheric layering depending upon the day and night pattern because of changes in the solar and the cosmic radiational pattern. So this is what the basic information which we need to about the what is ionosphere in a sense. And here we are using the neural network pattern. What is neural network pattern? It's like a human brain. It's a human brain in the sense it's a classification, a recognizing, or a similarity of both the things and a dissimilarity of the both the things, and linear arrangement of the terms of the particular any of the factor which came into mind. These kind of the analytical pattern and the neural network which functioning in our human brain. Same kind of the pattern is grasped and used in the means of artificial in manner. It will be helpful to identify the ionospheric model, the morphological study about the ionospheric model. So in this aspect we can find out the geomagnetic storms and the due to the magnetic clouds that originate from the sun. So first of all, the first statement is used to mimic the process of human brain. So first statement is correct, and second, it's learn about the geomagnetic storm that occur due to the magnetic clouds originated from the sun. So this is also clear. So answer is both 1 and 2 is the answer. So first, new model to predict the ionospheric model electron density can help communication and navigation. This is the news. So in the new artificial neural network based ionospheric model using the long-term ionospheric observation helpful predict for the ionospheric electron density. It can capture the morphological feature of ionosphere and disturb the space weather, not the earth weather. Normally the earth weather zone is confined to the troposphere alone. The weather changes of the earth which will be traced back to the troposphere alone. It's not to deal with the beyond the troposphere. The stratosphere and mesosphere has no influence in the deciding factor of the weather of the earth. Here we are going to analyze the space weather, not the earth weather. The space weather in the sense the magnetic cloud or geomagnetic terms that we need to analyze in order to identify the electron density on the ionosphere, which will be helpful for the communication. So it's like mimic the human brain. It's a clustering, recognition, generalization, classification, non-linear data fitting. Such kind of the analytical skill is a mimic and grasp that it can be used by means of artificial means to study about the ionospheric model. This is basic information about the ionospheric model that already we have discussed. It is the layer of the earth atmosphere. Yeah, true. It's ionized by the solar and the cosmic radiation. Yes. It's because of the electric charge radio waves and transmitted from the earth and reflected back to this layer. So this is also correct. And it already thickness of the ionosphere changes during daytime and nighttime. Already I have discussed the solar and the cosmic radiation is influenced by. It's a daytime, solar is also available, cosmic radiation is also available. If you take the nighttime, there is no solar availability, only cosmic radiation is available. So the thickness of the ionosphere which will be which is subjected to the changes during the day and time. So the answer is both the 1, 2, 3. So almost we have completed 50% of the GMT discussion. I hope everyone is very clear about the first 5 questions. And Maze ransomware and leather seaback turtle, nominal exchange effective exchange rate, and the artificial neural network based global ionospheric model, and basic information about the ionospheric model. We will move on to next questions. 6th question. This question is New Millennium Indian Technology Leadership Initiative. This question has been asked as because it is appeared in the news. It's not more significant as far as UPSC prelims question is concerned. Why this particular question is answered? Indian researchers to go for the clinical trial for sepsis drug against the novel coronavirus. Yesterday we have discussed about the vaccination task force which has been set up by the Union government to develop the vaccination for the coronavirus. Now they aimed to research on the sepsis drug trial for the novel coronavirus. That's why this particular initiative has been started, the Indian Technology Leadership Initiative to the sepsis drug clinical trial. So for the COVID-19 impact. So it is the initiative of the CSIR, and it seeks to catalyze the innovation-centered scientific and technological development as a vehicle to attract the Indian industry as a global leadership position. Second statement is something like very simple and no twist has situated in this particular statement. So answer is both 1 and 2 are correct. No need to confuse with much of this topic. It will be very useful. It does not get much significance as far as UPSC is concerned. And this is, as we said in the earlier discussion, international grouping is very very important. International organization, every year there will be one question from the every year there will be one question from the international organization in the UPSC. So in that aspect, whatever the international organization which appear on the news on that particular day, that will you need to focus about that. Mainly, what is the objective or functions of the particular organization, who are all the member countries, and mainly its purpose. These are all the its influence on the global scenario. These are all the needs to be focused on this reading about the international organization. Here it is considered as a OPEC plus countries. So if something is OPEC plus, in the sense it needs to be a added one to the OPEC countries. It's not like that. It's a non-OPEC countries which export the crude oil. The OPEC countries, it's actually formed earlier, normally influenced by the Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain and Venezuela. It's normally comprised of the 14 countries which aimed to stabilize the petroleum market and oil prices, and also ensure the sustained profit from the petroleum industry. This is what the basic objective and intention behind the OPEC countries. They intended to cooperate all the countries which are all involved in the oil exporting. In post 2017, in this aspect, non-OPEC countries have started their own platform in order to bring the same objective in the oil and petroleum oil industries. So in this aspect, they are non-OPEC countries. Non-OPEC countries which export the crude oil, that is true. Mexico and Oman and South Sudan, not the USA, are the members of the OPEC countries. So answer is, here is one only, not the USA. So just see that why India can gain from the oil prices, in the sense non-export countries export the crude oil termed as oil OPEC plus countries. Its member countries are Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Brunei, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mexico, Oman, Russia, South Sudan, Sudan. So it does not comprise the USA. So second statement is also wrong. So first statement is correct because it's a non-OPEC countries. These countries are not a member of the OPEC countries, which has been influenced by Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq countries. So answer is, this for this question is one only. Sagar initiatives is the term which literally mean that ocean or water. So here it's initiative given prior to Indian Ocean region, because the Indian Ocean, as far as India is concerned, geographically, so strategically very very important in character. So ensuring peace, stability, prosperity for Indian Ocean, it's true, and it is in the line with the principles of Indian Ocean Rim Association. That is also correct. So answer is for this question is both 1 and 2. It's more or less statement based and factual questions. So it seeks to differentiate a leadership from the modern sovereignty of other regionally major powers, that to reassure the littoral states as a maritime influence grows. So why India has a observer status in the Indian Ocean Association. The Indian Ocean Association is formed by the Western African countries which share the border with the Indian Oceans. The Comoros, Madagascar and Mauritius, Senegal and like countries. So it's normally the term Sagar is coined by Honorable Prime Minister in his Mauritius visit with effect of blue economy to ensure peace, stability, prosperity of Indian Oceanic region. It is in the line with the Indian Ocean Rim Association. So that is also correct. It aims to trust and transparency for the international maritime rules. This question about Indian Ocean Commission. So as I told that African plus Indian Ocean border sharing countries, mostly it will in the West African countries. India is not a member of this country. India now only it has the observer status. So member countries, they are participating in the meeting, they are influenced in the decision making process. They will vote has a capacity of voting in this meeting or any of the assembly. The observer just observe the activities and participate in the meeting. They have without entitling any of the voting pattern in the discussion. It has no influence in the decision making. You just observe what happens on this particular organization. India is currently recognized as observer status in Indian Ocean Commission. It's not a member, so second statement is wrong. So protect the interest of Western Indian Ocean islands. That is correct. Because it is composed of the 5 African Western Ocean nations. So answer is 1 only. So Comoros, Madagascar, Mauritius, and a reunion of the overseas region of France and Seychelles. These 5 countries has the number of countries: India, China, Malta, European Union, and International Organization for La Francophonie. So these are all considered to be observers. So India is not a member, so statement 2 is wrong. So answer is 1 only. So as far as it's the peace, tranquility, blue economy, and cooperative development in this particular blue ocean-based economy, strategical importance, they normally go hand in hand and earning the cooperation among the various littoral states of the Indian Ocean countries. These are all the basic objective and intention behind the international grouping which can influence in the Indian Ocean region. As usual, the very last question which deals is which has been asked from the previous year UPSC question. So as I said, this is very important in UPSC aspirant. They are the real director which gave the route map to attain the destination. So no, you should never ever compromise seeing the UPSC previous year question paper. This question which deals with the polity based question. The Parliament of can place a particular law in the 9th schedule in the Constitution of India. It comprises of 12 schedules, in which 9th schedule introduced by the First Amendment Act, and 9th schedule which intended which have the proof or which protect the particular organ acts legislation which has been listed in the 9th schedule is beyond the judicial review. It's not subjected to judicial review. That is the intention behind initially. The 9th schedule has been included in the Indian Constitution, in which the Parliament has the sole authority to place any particular law in the 9th schedule of the Indian Constitution. As we know that Parliament is the sole authority to amend the Indian Constitution. No other legislation, no other organs of the government has no power to deal with the Constitution. The judiciary can interpret the legislative action in the line of constitutional morality. It has no power to amend the Constitution. Parliament is the sole authority to amend the Constitution. In this aspect, it can place a particular law in the 9th schedule. So the first statement is correct. Validity of the law placed in the 9th schedule cannot be examined by any court, and no judgment can be made on it. In the initial phases, the 9th schedule intention was the really what mentioned in the statement 2. It actually cannot be examined by any court. No judgment can be made on it on any other legislation which has been listed on the 9th schedule. It's actually then it will change it as the basic structural doctrine. The basic structural doctrine principle is given by Kesavananda Bharati case. So we will segregate the constitutional amendment and judicial review before the Kesavananda Bharati case, after the Kesavananda Bharati case. Before the after Kesavananda Bharati case, what was mentioned in the statement 2, that is correct. But after the Kesavananda Bharati, at any cost, at any provision in the any inclusion or addition of the Constitution of India which is subjected to the judicial review in the line of basic structural principles. So if anything which affect the basic structure of the principle, even if it is included in the 9th schedule, that will be null and void. So in today's scenario, the validity of the law can be placed in 9th schedule, can be examined by the any court, it can be examined by the any court, and judgment can be made on it within the ambit of the constitutional morality or constitutional principles, as because it should uphold the basic structure of the Constitution. It should not never ever disturb the doctrinal principles, that is the basic structure of the Constitution. So in this aspect, the question is, the answer is the 1 only. So not the second statement is wrong. This is what we inferred from this particular question. The date is mentioned in this April 24 and 1973. So the date is mentioned the before and after the any other legislation which can be placed after April 24, 1973, it can be subjected to the judicial review. So this is what we can know from this particular institution. Almost we have completed the today GMT test discussion. So I hope everyone very clear idea about these 310 aspect, and kindly I request you to follow regularly this GMT and GMT discussion, and you need to practice the DAS as well. And finally, if you have any doubt over this particular, you can mail me bala@gmail.com, or you can ping me in Telegram channel of our group. Otherwise, you can mail me Kingmaker IAS Academy with the tag of the GMT test. So thank you, all the very best.